Hey everybody, it's Charlie from DM Moto, and if you want the most off-road capable stock F-150 that you can get for under $100,000 with a V8 engine, this is your ticket right here. This is the F-150 Tremor, starting around $65,000, but as you're looking at it at 82 grand, fully kitted out. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, can you get this one in a 6.5 foot bed? I'll have to check right here. I'm assuming the answer is no, but you're seeing it right here with the 5.5 foot bed, full crew cab, and with its 33-inch general grabber all-terrain tires, locking differential in the rear, limited slip diff in the front, the optional split tailgate here, which I'm finally getting to see from Ford. It's kind of cool. You can, oh, where is it? Right here. Yeah, open it up like that. Reach in. I think that's kind of cool for general usability. And close it. Can we open it from the other side as well? No. All right, just hinged on one side. This is what promises to be a really, really cool F-150 truck package. It's lifted up a little bit. It's got non-branded shocks. They are monotube. They're more upgraded from the standard shocks that you'd get on an F-150, such as like an F-150 FX4. It's also got a metal skid plate underneath, a little bit of extra lift, and those mechanical goodies that I was talking about earlier. So we're going to put that to the test today. I'm going to head out to Wildomar Off-Road Park. We're going to check out some of the trails here with the F-150 Tremor, and then come on back, and after spending time with the truck today, as well as what I've done throughout the week, I'll give you some of my pros and cons. Let's take a little bit of a look at the interior. Some cool colors that come uniquely to the Tremor package. And with the 402A, we're getting this synthetic leather, Tremor stitching, fun Tremor wheels, some carpeted floor mats. Very surprising that we're not getting some sort of rubberized all-terrain floor mat. Check the link below. I'll put my lace fit liners, even though they're not even sponsoring this video. I'll put the link to the lace fit liners because I'm a big fan of those. I think you're going to want them if you have an F-150 with carpet mats like that. And then you hear that. That is the sound of the 5-liter Coyote V8 engine. And that's what I was most curious about with this truck, is driving the V8 F-150. I've spent so much time in 3.5 EcoBoosts, the 3.5 Power Boost, the 3.5 Raptor, even the 2.7 I drove in an F-150 earlier last year, but I hadn't driven the 5-liter V8. So that's what's been pretty cool to experience so far this week. So I'm going to get out to the off-road park. We're going to put this through the paces a little bit, and then we'll talk about what it's been like going on-road and off-road with this 5-liter off-road capable F-150. Here we are out at Wildomar OHV, and I've never taken a full-size truck out here before. I've had plenty of motorcycles, but let's see what this thing's capable of, and let's see what these trails are like. Now, first things first, you're going to hear a really annoying kind of squeaking, rattling sound from the back of the truck. That's been happening the whole time I've had the truck. I don't know what its deal is. It's loud. And we're going to talk about it more at the end of the video, but this truck just kind of feels like it was built on a Friday. It's a little unfortunate. But let's just start out in normal mode, keep it in 2-wheel drive, and then see when we need to flip to 4. We've got the Onyx maps going in front of us here. Gonna try to keep us on the main trail. Not super well detailed out here. You're gonna already see it points this way, but then, like I say, that's 26. Where's trail 8? None of these say trail 8. Is it this one, right? Come on. 8, okay. Looks like it's this one. That's W4. Wildomar Loop Trail. Ah, okay, see that? Interesting. We're already going to be putting the clearance of this thing to the test. All right, let's get into 4 high. Better approach and departure angles on the Tremor than your standard FX4. And we can see when the camera comes up, it does give us the ability to mute the parking sensors. I like that. Going to be a breakover angle test right here. This is already pretty intense trail. Doesn't seem like we're scraping though. Let's switch it into off-road mode now so we see what sort of information we get up on the screen. We've got slippery, off-road, and rock crawl. Let's do off-road. It seems pretty apt. And there we go. We got the camera up. It shows us where our tires are going to be going. And again, the ability to right there mute the parking beepers like that. So far, I'm really happy with the ride quality. It's just the right amount of sponginess, but also firmness. That's what I like in a full-size off-roader truck like this. The Nissans were always a little bit too stiff for me. The Toyotas are pretty darn soft. This one seems to be a little bit of a Goldilocks. Look at that. Oh, and I just realized in my head-up display I've got off-road information too. It's telling me, okay, we've got the four-wheel drive high, and then the diff is locked, the rear diff, and then we've got angles as well as a tachometer. That's pretty cool. There's a little bit of rubbing. It seems like they've widened out this trail here at Wildemar, cleaned it up a little bit. I'd like to see that, because I was a little skeptical about bringing a full-size, full-width truck out here. So far, so good. Ooh, okay. A little bit of a departure right there. We do have some sort of rock slider type sideboards on this one. Not worried about damaging those. We do have that limited slip diff in the front as well. Haven't really gotten to put it much to the test, but nice to know that that's going to help if we get some sort of really technical crawl situation. Now there is a very difficult hill here called Bloody Jersey Hill. I don't believe we will be attempting it today. I think that's something to do with maybe something like a 4Runner TRD Pro and a spotter. But we might check it out. We might look at it. But I don't think we're going to be traversing up it in this full-size F-150. One cool feature you get with the Tremor is this trail one-pedal drive mode. You can use the set button for trail control. And then you can actually, it's essentially like off-road cruise control. I've got it set at 2 miles per hour right now. As we come up and over this hill, it's going to keep me at 2 miles per hour as I come down. So it's modulating the brakes, it's modulating the throttle, everything to keep me at 2 miles per hour. And that's really good for very steep sections, either up or down, because it's going to be able to keep things under control better than you could simply by using one brake pedal and one gas pedal. You can slow it all the way down to 1 mile per hour here. Make it nice and easy. Give you a chance to pop home, take a look at Onyx, see which trail we're supposed to take here. Looks like we're supposed to go to the right, although left does look pretty fun. We think we could get up that hill? Yeah, maybe we give it a try. I don't know what's at the top, but maybe we find out. I guess if we need to come back down, we need to come back down, right? That one's pretty steep too, though. Let's see. So trail control taking us down nicely here. I'm actually going to go to 4 low for this. I think that's going to be better gear to be in. So we're going to go neutral. And then 4 low. 4-wheel drive shift in progress. There we are. And I'm going to be good noodle. I'm going to hop out and just take a look at, see what's at the top on foot first. Oh yeah, should be very achievable. In fact, it actually might be an easier alternative than the one over to the right. So let's go back into drive. Trail control with 1 pedal. Set. Trail control not, okay. Oh, you can actually go in increments of half a mile per hour when you're in 4 low. That's cool. 17-degree climb with ease. Probably could have done it in 2-wheel high. Another thing I really appreciate here in the F-150 Tremor is this off-road screen. Look at all the cool info it's giving us. We've got our coordinates, we've got our compass, we've got an elevation, and then it's showing us all our information about our drivetrain. I was so disappointed when we took the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro out and did some off-roading. You couldn't even see what elevation we were at. We were going up a mountain and my dad was curious. He's like, I wonder how high we are. And I was like, oh, I'm sure the vehicle will tell us here. No, nothing. No information about our drivetrain like that and the off-road stats. If you're gonna make a cool vehicle like this, it's capable of these things, and you're gonna have it full of screens, you might as well give us some cool info like that. So I'm glad that the F-150 Tremor has it. Now you can see with that trail control on, I was able to still drive and use the gas pedal and speed up, but then when I released it, it gradually brought me back to that 1.5 mile per hour that I had it set at. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Nothing too crazy that we pushed it in yet, but just the comfort and the ease, the technology seems to be very fitting for a vehicle like this. That old truck, that's sweet. That's a cool old Ford. So I'm gonna do a little bit more exploring and filming, and then we're gonna get this thing back into the city and talk about what it's like living with it. Here we are, all cleaned up and wrapping up my final thoughts with the F-150 Tremor. Now, we had the F-150 XLT with the 3.5 power boost earlier this summer, and it actually made it to the very top Daily Motors car list. So it is the #1 car that we've driven this year, and that's kind of considering the F-150 as a whole. So it's interesting to get another F-150 and another perspective on the lineup. Some of my pros and cons are similar, but some of them are different. So getting right in here, my first con is actually the build quality on this F-150. Now, I'm not a huge stickler for build quality. I'm okay with some cheap vehicles. But having spent a lot of time in that last F-150, this one doesn't feel like it was built as well. I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase, built on a Friday, but that's what this one has seemed to me. From the moment I got into it, this side panel, we'll have to see if it happens when we're driving, but has been creaking on me. And then there's a creak from the rear that I think we've already heard so far in this video. That's been happening throughout the entire week, even just in normal driving. And there's a general not well put together feeling of this interior that that didn't come through to me. Maybe it was because the last interior was an XLT and something to do with the simpler materials actually made it feel more proper to be a little simpler and cheaper. But just not super blown away with the build quality on this F-150. Yeah. Next con, we need to get the F-150 out on the road. Bring in that 5-liter V8 to life, which certainly is not a con of mine. We're going to talk about that in the pros. But my next con is the ride quality. And it's not necessarily bump absorption. I actually think this shock package does quite a great job off-road. But day-to-day driving, there's a wallowing and a ponderance to this platform and chassis and suspension tuning that makes it kind of generally a chore to drive. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it. I'm just going to take these speed bumps excellently. Hopping right over, no problem there. But I think it's a combination of the tires and the shocks. The whole truck wallows around, and I gotta tell you, I don't enjoy driving it around town and just day-to-day driving. There's something about just the normal FX4 package that makes it much more enjoyable to ride around. So I don't think ride is necessarily the proper term. I think it's more just general chassis. Next con is the transmission. Ford and their 10-speed automatic, man, it's fine, but it's not good. And if you spend time in something like the Ram, and then you get into this, or the Toyota as well, their 10-speed is better, or GM's 10-speed is better, even though it was co-developed with Ford. Ford's 10-speed automatic still has periodic rough shifts. It's still, especially with this V8, often isn't in the gear you want it to be, and you gotta have it downshift. It's not a deal breaker. None of these are really deal breakers, but I'd generally prefer something like an 8-speed automatic for my truck. The next con is the price. This one we're in, what was it, about $82,000 or so. The Tremor itself starts at $67,000 after destination. Don't get fooled by that destination price. You're gonna see $64,000 out there as a starting price for the Tremor, but there is a mandatory $2,000 destination fee, even though the truck's built here in America. So you could be half an hour down the road from the plant, you're still paying an extra $2,000 in destination, when a lot of brands are still only charging maybe $1,200 for the destination fee. I don't understand why manufacturers are allowed to not just include that in the MSRP of the truck. But either way, this starts at $67,000. You can get yourself an FX4 XLT with the V8, and with that FX4 package you get the 301A, so it's not a basic XLT, it's one level up. That truck would cost you just over $60,000. So essentially $7,000 less than this Tremor. Now, the Tremor is going to get you the lift, it's going to get you the all-terrain tires, the skid plates, the trail control mode, the rock crawl mode, and I think maybe the front limited slip diff as well. So, is it worth it if you're going to absolutely utilize all of that functionality? Yeah, I suppose. But I just have trouble spending $70,000 to $80,000 on an off-road toy. So for me, I would probably get a few-year-old Raptor instead, one that's been taken care of well and maybe just kind of used as a mall queen. Or I would actually probably just get, and I know this isn't quite as cool as the V8, but if I weren't planning on doing a lot of towing, I'd just get myself a 2.7-liter XLT, and I would throw the FX4 package on it, and then maybe some all-terrain tires, and maybe a lift kit, and then I'm looking at under $60,000, well under, better fuel economy, and still a good amount of off-road capability. Yeah, it's not going to be as cool as the Tremor, and it's not going to sound as cool, but it'd be a lot less money. The next con is BlueCruise. I appreciate that we have BlueCruise, but I'm pretty sure even at this $80,000 price point, it's only a 90-day trial of BlueCruise. So it's like, okay, well, you get teased with it for a few months and then you have to pay for it. And that's going to be some sort of subscription that you got to pay monthly. Obviously, you get something like a Tesla and you get autopilot included for free. And then if you want full self-driving, obviously pay more for that. BlueCruise is good, but it's not great. And after spending 800 miles with SuperCruise last week in the Suburban, I can confidently say that SuperCruise is still a better highway semi-autonomous driving system than BlueCruise. I told it to my buddies the other day, BlueCruise is like having a 16-year-old drive for you, and SuperCruise is like having a 19-year-old drive for you. So they're both not great, but SuperCruise is better. And the last con is the cylinder deactivation here on the V8. I love this engine, I really do. It's a great motor, but it is a shame that you have cylinder deactivation now. So if you're someone who does plan on having your truck for a long time, that might pose some reliability issues. Coming back here for my pros with the Tremor, and the first off is the styling. I think this generation of F-150 already looks great, but added in with this Tremor styling, not only do I think it's handsome, but I also appreciate that it's not over the top the way the Raptor is. As much as I love driving the F-150 Raptor, I don't love being seen in the F-150 Raptor. It's obnoxious, and some people like that, but a lot of people don't. And this Tremor is much more understated, but yet still cool. It's got the orange lights in here. It's got this grille that has kind of this bronzish look to it. It's got the different bumper up front with the skid plate and the hooks, the big meaty tires. Stance is actually out an inch as well, I learned while doing my final research before this filming. And then the badge back here that you could easily take off if you didn't want to show that. I guess it's not a badge, it's just a sticker. I think this truck looks really great from both a professional standpoint, like you could show up to the office in this, but then it also looks cool out on the weekend. And in this space white paint, it actually works for me. Next pro, while we're back here, is this tailgate. This is the first time that I've gotten to use Ford's answer to the sort of tailgate wars, with Dodge having sort of a 60-40 split and GM having their multi-pro deal where you can kind of split it down in the other direction. I like this quite a bit because if you were just getting something in or out of here, you could reach both sides from right here. You could kind of pop this open, get into the bed much easier. But then obviously it's just one quick and easy close and button to get down the normal tailgate. Now, the cool thing is if this is something that you don't care for, you don't have to have it. Just don't option it on your truck. I've appreciated kind of getting to experience it here. I think it's a nice and elegant solution to that kind of adding to the usability of your truck bed. Next pro, hopping on in here, is the interior. I love both the combination of the functionality of the F-150 and also the styling. Starting in the back, looking at all these different compartments to put things, and then even in the rear doors, getting this nice Tremor stitching and kind of durable material. Also note, not a hint of piano black plastic anywhere in the cabin, so this is actually going to age decently well. Underneath the seats, you have storage. You have this that flips up. You can leave that down for a nice big open area here. Bringing it down. Getting into the rear seats, very comfortable back here. I know that we had a niche for all of our camping trip a month ago or so, and he was comfortable. Heated seats, 20 amp wall plug, USB-C ports, vents, 12 volt outlet, cup holders right here. We've got actually no handle here, just a little coat hanger, but a handle to get in and out of here. This big panoramic roof, and then again, just a very handsome and well thought out interior up here. We don't have silly things like a screen in front of the passenger. Instead, we have a very useful storage compartment. The screen isn't taking up the whole center console. It's a very functional screen that still gives us physical controls below it for volume, track, and climate. The only aspect of this interior that bothers me is this shifter right here, as opposed to the column shifter that we had in the XLT model. With the XLT, this was all one big storage area, so that gave us more functionality, and it gave us the ability to open this all the way up while we were driving and use it for eating snacks. This is absolutely a shifter that I would not option on an F-150 for myself. But shifter aside, I think this is one of the best laid out truck interiors. It might not be as fancy as the Ram, but it's just the right blend for me of functional and nice looking. And then the next pro on the vein of the interior is this B&O Unleashed sound system. Now, I haven't had a chance to listen to the Klipsch system in the top tier Ram Tungsten. However, that is going to be such a low take rate trim for that truck that I virtually find it unnecessary to review that system. For a vehicle that you can actually get in, a truck I should say, at a good price, this B&O Unleashed system is my favorite sound system in a truck. I think it's much better than the Harman Kardon in the Ram. I think it's better than the JBL in the Tundra. It's been a while. I don't even know if I've ever tested the Bose Ultimate. That one's probably pretty good, but I bet you this B&O system would still take it for me. I love listening to it. I really do. I think it's well balanced and it's powerful. Next pro is the capability. You guys saw from the off-road section if you watched it, even in rear-wheel drive mode, between the general grabbers and the limited, or rather the locking differential, and then you got the lift and the skid plates. This is a really capable truck, and as long as you're not planning on going and blasting down off-road trails at 100 miles per hour, this Tremor's really going to be the ticket for just about all off-road wants and needs that you're going to have with a 1500 series truck. And the last pro before we wrap up is right here under my right foot. It's that V8 engine. I love this thing. I would be very tempted to get myself the V8 if I were buying an F-150. The 2.7 is also a very great engine, so I would probably seriously consider that as well, as I was saying earlier, from more of a budget perspective. But I love the sound and the character of this V8. Yes, you do have to let it rev out a little bit more, but there's a joy in that. I enjoy driving my truck and going, yeah, that sounds proper. Now, the 3.5 EcoBoost is a no-cost option for the Tremor, and I think it's cool that Ford did that. So it's essentially pick your flavor. And the 3.5 EcoBoost is an easier engine to drive around town. You can't argue with the fact that you've got 500 pound-feet of torque out of that engine as opposed to only 410 in this one, and it makes that torque so much lower in the rev range that, yeah, when you're just pulling out into traffic and you're driving around, that is a smoother engine. That 3.5 EcoBoost is so powerful. But this engine is more enjoyable from an enthusiast standpoint. So I really love that Ford still offers it. I love that it's a no-cost option here in the Tremor. And I think I would likely choose it if I were getting a higher trim F-150 here in 2025. So there it is. Finally time with an F-150 with the V8. I like the Tremor, and I like the V8. I'm very happy with both of these. Now, the day-to-day ride, like I said, the overall handling of the truck and the cost would probably push me away from the Tremor package. I would have to seriously be using this truck all the time in order to, I should say off-road all the time in order to justify it. I was plenty fine with the FX4 package, so that's probably where my money would go. But I do still want to take a look at the F-150 as a whole on the Daily Motor Leaderboard and see if it's going to drop down at all or if it still has our top spot. So here we are, Daily Motor Leaderboard. Ford F-150 on top, Hyundai Santa Fe XRT second, and Honda Passport Trail Sport in third place. That's where that made it. Wow, okay. No, I still put the F-150 at the top. I do. There were definitely annoyances of mine for certain elements of the Tremor. But ultimately, I'm glad that the trim exists. I'm glad that the V8 exists. And hey, why would we be upset at Ford for giving us more options? They've got 3 different powertrains we can choose from. I'm sad that the diesel's gone, but I understand why it's gone. We've got so many different trims to choose from. The only things they could do to make it better is give us more bed options. I would love to be able to get the Tremor in a 6.5 foot bed. In fact, that reminds me, that's why I wouldn't get the Tremor, is because I insist on having a 6.5 foot bed for my truck. So I would get a full crew cab or maybe extended cab. I'd get an XLT and get the 6.5 foot bed, and I'd throw some all-terrain tires on it. A little bit of a lift, FX4 shocks. That is my ideal Tremor. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on this F-150 or any of the previous F-150s we've reviewed, check the link below, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.